My name is Ron Hooks. I'm the Executive Director of West Coast Care. We're out here Monday through Friday helping people who are experiencing homelessness. Are you working on anything we might be able to help you with? We came to Santa Monica about 13 years ago looking for a building. When I was down there walking around, I was talking to the homeless, began to strike up relationships with the people who were down there, and they said, well, what you're doing now is working. About a month goes by and a person asked me if I could help them go home, and I felt like that was the answer we were looking for. This is my card. If you think of some way we can connect with your family, please let us know. We're here for you. The only reason why we have a job is to help you. We've been able to help thousands of people reconnect with their families, and several thousand more go into programs, treatment, and find jobs here in the area.
The homeless situation in Santa Monica, it takes help from any and everybody. Just one life change is huge. So if we're all doing that together, it could really make a big difference.
We're excited about the partnerships that we have with the whole community. We know that this is part of the answer.
If we all work together and do a little bit, each person, it's going to make a big difference.
The more help that we have, the more people that we help break free from homelessness.
Everybody, this is AJ Ali. I'm back with another episode of the Love is the Answer podcast, improving police community relations and also just teaching and helping other people learn how to love each other. My guest today is Ron Hooks, and I'm going to read a little bit about Ron for you. He's the founder and executive director of West Coast Care Foundation. I'm on their advisory board as well, and I've seen their work firsthand, and he's doing amazing things in Santa Monica. Ron has more than 20 years, 30 years of experience working with homeless people. He was the executive director of Providence House, an inner city rehabilitation center in San Francisco's Tenderloin district for 10 years. Ron also served as an adjunct professor at Patten University in Oakland, California. He's an ordained bishop with a doctor of philosophy and counseling psychology, and a master of arts in biblical studies. Ron also served in the inner city of San Francisco for a dozen years, pastoring and running a rehab there. And we're so glad that he's here in Santa Monica, doing some really incredible work. Ron, so good to see you today.
Hey, AJ, it's good to see you too, brother. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. It's always, we talked a little bit yesterday, and it was really uplifting. And so today I'm so glad to have you on this program so you can share with everybody what you do and the impact that it's making. And, there's so many different elements of police community relations and then how that spills over into, okay, what's the role of the citizen? How can we help to make things better? We can't rely on police and punishment for everything. We got to do our part as well. And, just getting to know you and learning more and more about your program and seeing it firsthand really has kind of sparked me with the work that I do to make sure that we get people in their communities as we take this film and book all over the country, get them engaged with programs like yours so they can be part of the solution. So
exactly.
Yeah. Appreciate everything that you do. Did I miss anything in your,
no,
I know it was a short version of your bio.
Thank you. That was, I was hard to believe that was me you were talking about. Thank you for that. Thank you.
So how's everybody? How's family?
Everybody's doing good. We're so I'm back out in the field now. I was out for just a little bit. I had a little bit of a cold going on, and I wasn't sure about it, so I stood down for a couple of weeks or so. But we've got it going on, and we're our model's changed a little bit. We're giving out masks and gloves and hygiene kits and hand sanitizers, and we're networking with a lot of agencies right now, and it's really amazing. That the people that are out there listening to us, and to the run up to this, AJ, we had a couple of the best months we've ever had. People were really listening to us, and a lot of people maybe were sitting on the fence a little bit of making a decision, for the next phase of their life. They were hearing us, it was pretty exciting. And so we actually helped a lot of people get off the streets before this thing really hit big time in this area. So we're thankful.
Awesome. Let's jump into the deep end of the work, right? Can you share a little bit about what it is, the day-to-day that West Coast Care does?
Yeah. So we have an agreement with the police department in Santa Monica, and they allow us to drive these little like hopped up golf carts on the beach. And so that's our main focus. Is we're down on the beach in Santa Monica. There's approximately 3.5 miles of beach down there, and so what we do is we just ride around, and we kind of have the same loop we do every day. So we make sure we see the same people. But the beach is a hot spot. It's always been that way, and it probably will be that way. But a lot of people coming into the west side of LA, they will spend their first night or two, or maybe even more than that, on the beach in Santa Monica. They just can't go any further. They don't know what to do. They're trying to find a relatively safe place. So we're out there. And AJ, our model, what we try to do is we try to reconnect the homeless with their families. And we feel like that is absolutely the best thing that we could possibly do. And because it's like that's where all the damage was done, that, they're homeless. They can't turn to anybody. And, in their family structure or even close friends. So we really work hard on that. And that's our primary model, is getting people reconnected with their families. And AJ, when we can do that, we'll get them a bus ticket home, and McDonald's gift cards for food on the road. And we do, some follow-ups after they get home, and we're always there for them. And if there's some counseling issues or something like that going on after they get home, we walk with them. But we're excited about that. And, of course, we can't help everybody that way. So, the people that there's just not a possibility of, being, reunified with a family member or friend, we help those people get into programs, housing, all different kinds of things locally. So we're very proud of the work, very proud of it. We helped a lot of people, and are helping a lot of people.
How many people would you say you've helped over the years?
Oh boy, I like to try to just say hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. But we've been on the ground here since 2006, and last year alone we helped over 1,000 people in one way or another off the streets or beach in Santa Monica. Approximately 372 of those we reconnected with family, and the rest of those people went into housing programs. We helped them find jobs, and on and on and on.
That's amazing. I think about people that have been estranged from their family. They wind up out here. Why is it that that people wind up here? And is there a pattern? And is there also a pattern for why they're so reluctant to go back to family, or not able to go back to family?
That's a great question, AJ. The breakdown of the family is another one of those, those social phenomenons that's going on right now. And it's, everything you can think of plays into it. There's really no stereotype for why a person winds up in Santa Monica from all the way across the country somewhere. But almost every single person that is homeless on the streets in Santa Monica is from somewhere else. And so in that breakdown, a lot of times it starts with an argument and a bad choice. It could be drug-related, alcohol. It could be loss of job. But then it's something that's going on right now that's almost a phenomenon where it's like the spiral starts, and people just have a hard time finding their ways back to normal. And then we just see a lot of people who just give up. And, it's like, and that's one of the things we do. We try to get people believing again that, there's lots of possibilities out there. And so for the answer, also there's just say, like, if you found yourself homeless and you're in the Northwest somewhere where it gets really cold, and you hear that there's a warm place in Southern California, word on the street. And a lot of people wind up here just from that knowledge of knowing that you know, well, at least if I'm going to be homeless, I'll be in Southern California somewhere.
Yeah, and when they get here, the dream for many becomes a nightmare, doesn't it?
It does. AJ, we had a fellow that we helped just recently go home, and 23 years old. We got a call from an agency called SPY, Special Place for Youth in Venice Beach, right next door to Santa Monica. And they said they have a fellow that they've been working with for a while. He's living in his car, and is there anything we can do to help? He wants to get back to Boston. And so I said, you know, give me his number and everything. And then I called him and I said, I want to come over and talk to you. And I said, I heard you have a little bit of money. He said, yeah, you know, I've saved up approximately $100. He said, but I just got to get home. He said, I'm done. So I went over and talked to him. And he was that guy. He had come out here on a dream. And it seemed like instead of everything he touches turns to gold, it went the other way. And then he found himself with no money, embarrassed, didn't know what to do, had all these dreams, and, you know, couldn't make the call to his family. He just couldn't do it. You know, it's like, no, I told you all these things, and now look at me. And I went over and talked to him, and I said, bro, so you're ready to go home? He's like, yeah. And I checked his car out, you know, I was walking around his car, and I said, you know, like, you know, I said, will your car make it? And he said, oh, yeah. And fortunately, he had an economical, you know, car. So,
Okay.
And I said, so how much do you think you need? And he had told me, you know, he was going to try to drive home, and he told me what kind of car he had. So I'd done the math before I got there. And he said, I think if I had like a $75 that I could make it home. And I said, really? I said, well, you know what? Let me give you $75. And he was like, thank you. I said, but before I do, I said, were you planning on eating anything? And he said, no, man. No, I'm just trying to get home. And I said, and what happens if you run out of gas? And I figured it was like, he was going to be like 500 miles short with what he was asking for. He said, I don't know, man. I just don't know. And I said, well, here's the money. I said, like, you know, go ahead and take this 75. And it was quite a bit more than that I gave him. And he couldn't believe it. And, you know, just told him to get on home. And,
wow. Yeah. You can't start making me cry within the first 10 minutes of this podcast. I need to find a way to get through this thing, man.
Sorry, man. I got to find some tissue, bro. Let me get you some tissue. There you go. Take it.
Oh, man. I mean, you know, seeing what you do firsthand, you know, being out there in the car, you know, what do you call that thing? It's not a dune buggy, but
it's a Polaris Ranger. And the technical name is a side.
Awesome. Okay.
But let's just call it a hopped up golf cart.
It's a hopped up golf cart, man, filled with water and snacks, and now mask and other things, right?
Yeah.
Wow, times have changed for us. But seeing the work that you do and being a very small part of it on a couple of occasions really has impacted me in a big way, and in not only the work that I'm doing, but also just in general, my understanding of the things that people are going through in life, you know, and we live in this community where you're serving. And so I see it. And, you know, I just wish more people would get involved. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, you know, so that you could share the needs, you know, about, you know, okay, what can people do, right? How can people get involved? Yeah. And you know, what can people do? You know, if they see a need, what can they do?
So AJ, you know, it's so weird because just like when I got started working with homeless, it was in 1991. I was in North Carolina. There wasn't a homeless problem there at all. But my wife and I were renovating a house, and I've been going on for a couple of months. I was a contractor back in the day, and I met this kid that's 20 years old, and I figured out along the way after a couple of weeks, he kept hanging around, and you know, I'd buy him lunch or something. I realized he was homeless. And when my wife moved in, we all moved in that day. My wife said, who is that guy? and I said, he's going to be staying with us for a few weeks. And that was my first experience with homelessness. And
Okay.
and it was so weird because he stayed with us until we got his issue worked out with his family, and he got to go back home. But it was just right there in North Carolina. But the answer to your question is that another story. So I preached at a church one time, and I was preaching on the Good Samaritan. And many people know the story, but at the end of it, the Good Samaritan is taking this guy that was robbed, stripped, left for dead on the Jericho Road to a hotel in Jericho. And he cared for the man, he took care of the man. But when he was leaving the next day, he said to the owner of the hotel, he said, take care of him. And he said, if I owe you anything. And that got me. That Good Samaritan became 100% responsible for a man that he didn't know. He said, if I owe you anything. And so that really got a hold of me. So I was preaching that story at a church, and at the end of the sermon, we had questions and answers, and a person raises their hand and they said, hey, well, you work with the homeless. He said, what will we do? We don't have any homeless here. And I said, that's an interesting question. And I said, do you have any needs in your community? And the guy, just like I just hit him with a punch, he's like, oh yeah, there's lots of needs. And I said, there you go. I said, volunteerism is basically finding a need that in the community that matters, and then doing something about it, and then being responsible. If you're going to do it, go do it. And it's amazing how we had a group of people come to see us in the inner city of San Francisco, and they went back to their areas of the country, and in the areas they were going to were not homeless. There wasn't this crisis, the homeless crisis, but there were 6 ministries that started out of that visit on what they felt, not what they saw, but what they felt in their heart.
Wow. So, wow, that's amazing. That's right in line with our Love is the Answer principles. In the Love is the Answer book, to get people to learn about a need. Hey, I recognize that.
I got 2. Look, I got 2 copies.
So to learn about a need, to open your heart to the people that are being affected, to volunteer yourself to be part of the solution in someone's life, and then to empower others to do the same.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now you're not alone. You actually work with your family members.
Right. Well, AJ, like you said, you're a friend and you're one of our advisors, so we have lots of help. But our core group is our family. There's 4 of us, and there's Lenore, my wife, Josh, my son, and his wife Jenna. But last year we had over 200 volunteers help us. And so we have a really wide net that we can throw over a place. And we really, really, really are proud of that part of it, that we've been able to spread it out. And
awesome.
We haven't come up with all the best ideas. The hygiene kits that we give out, it wasn't my idea. We just had a hygiene kit build at St. Monica's Church a few weeks ago, and built over 1,200 kits. Yeah.
Wow. Nice. So the volunteers, they do things like build kits. Do they go out on the streets with you as well?
I think we had, I wished I had the number, but we had a lot of people that did ride-alongs with us last year.
Okay.
And and it's so cool because almost everybody has a takeaway. It's like, hey, it's like there's a spark. It's like, oh man, I learned so much today. This is, thank you for what you're doing, but you can tell they're taking something else with them. There's an idea, they're taking with them.
Now, recently you had the chief of police ride along with you, right? Cindy Renault?
Yes.
How was that?
Oh, it was fantastic. I got to tell you, man, the chief she's tough. She's, let's see, in my world, we'd say she's got good kung fu. Yeah. So of all days in Southern California, you know the song that says "It never rains in Southern California." Well, it was
Yeah.
raining. It was raining, and I didn't
I
have a
think I
roof.
remember that day.
Yeah, I didn't have a roof on our vehicle, no windshield or anything. We're just out in the open. And she gets there, and she has, you know, an escort with her. One of the captains was with her. And so the captain got in the other vehicle with Josh and Jenna, and the chief got in mine, and it just started pouring. And I just stopped, and
Mm,
I said, let's go back. And she said, let's keep going.
mm,
And it was an amazing day. And she said, well, what? No, she said, well, what do you do on rainy days? And I said, well, what we have found is that on rainy days, it's actually a day where people will make a decision. And that's why we're out
mm.
here. That rain
Okay.
is the final deciding thing that causes
Mm.
somebody to take a step in the
Wow.
right direction. And she
Mm,
said, well, if y'all are out here, basically, I want to be out here too. And so we
mm.
rode in the rain for an hour on the beach. It was amazing. It was amazing.
That's awesome. I really love Cindy and the work that she does, and of course Chief Jackie Seabrooks before her, who's now
Oh, excellent.
retired.
Remarkable.
And
Remarkable. Yes.
yeah, and you've had a close relationship with the police department for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, AJ, you know, it's a good story. Way back in the day when we first got in Santa Monica, we're on our own completely, and our model was going, you know, full force that, you
Mhm.
know, helping people reconnect with family and things like that. And so if we saw something, if we saw like, just say like two people arguing, we call the cops. And they kept sending these same guys out there. It's like
Uh,
there has to be more people in the police force than these three guys we keep seeing. But then we found out that they were on a team called the Homeless Liaison Program that the Santa Monica Police Department has.
okay.
And they were like, well, who are you? Why do you keep calling us? You know, all these things. We're like, well, you know, and then it was so weird because it was like we had a magic moment. We are working with the same people. And in their model, they really tried hard to keep people from being incarcerated. And they wanted
Mm,
to throw all the options at them that they can. And we were one of the options. And
okay.
and so this relationship developed, and now here is the magic moment. One of the police officers, Officer Jacob Holloway, he's a detective now,
Yes.
came up to me in Reed Park in Santa Monica, and he said, "Hey, I got to talk to you." But I was on my phone. I was on my phone, you know, and I kind of went like this, you know,
Uh-huh.
and he stood back, and I said, and I wrote down some things on a little pad, and I said, "Yeah, Jacob, what's up? What's up?" He goes, "I got a guy. I got a guy." And he wants to go home to San Francisco, man. And he
Mm.
was so excited. He was just really excited. And I had, let's see if I can find it. So I had this notepad, you know, I was writing stuff on. And
Uh-huh.
he said, I said, what's his name? What's his name? He said, so he tells me his name. And when he did, I turned the pad around like that and I showed it to him. And I had just booked the guy's ticket
Oh
to
man.
San Francisco. That was what I was
Oh,
doing. And he goes, I
wow.
don't believe this. I don't believe this. He literally runs through the police department. I wished I could have seen it. Before it was over with, the chief of police had reached out to me and wanted to
Mm,
meet us. And that's how far up that little story went through the police
wow.
department. And we literally were the first group. I've researched it, and somebody may prove me wrong, but we were the first social service agency that started networking with the police department on that level in the whole
Mm,
United States. Let's get together.
wow.
Let's figure out a way to get people the help, the real help that they need.
That's incredible. And that's that's God at work. You
Yeah.
know, we're not
Oh,
afraid to talk about God on this podcast because that's that's where it starts. And I've
it does.
seen so many instances where God has shown up and and blessed your work. You introduced me to Jacob, and I did a couple of ride-alongs with him. And what an amazing guy! He's not the only amazing person on the police department, but I saw him do things that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
You know, during one of the ride-alongs, there was a lady who was clearly strung out on some drugs, And we're driving along, and he stops and puts the window down and says, "Hey," and says her name. And, she comes over and starts talking with him. And he knew this person. He had a relationship with this person. And when he asked her, "When was the last time you used?" she didn't lie. She said, "This morning."
Yeah.
And then he proceeded to not jump out of the car and grab her and throw her against it and put handcuffs on her, but he proceeded to treat her with love and respect and dignity, like he was talking to his sister maybe. And it really moved me to see, firsthand. And I know this happens a lot, and people don't see enough of it, what officers do on a daily basis. But I saw him treat her with a dignity and respect at a human level that enabled him to then be able to give her the help that she needed.
AJ, I can't hardly, I'm so thankful that we started this relationship, because it's opened my eyes too. And we, not every year, but we did one last year, but we call it roll call trainings, where we go through the whole the police department and just touch base. So we've done many of these through the years, but we did one last year with the police and also the fire department. And we also network with the lifeguards the same way. We do these trainings. Last year it was the whole spectrum that we talked to. It was police, fire, and lifeguards. We're hoping to do that again this year. But we go through and we have, it's really great, man. It's so awesome to hear the heart of the police, that they want to know. They want to know what to do, and then we have this amazing relationship. Just all the way through. It really is amazing with the police department and the personnel that they have. Yeah, I don't even think you can be hired in Santa Monica. They won't hire you if you don't have a heart for the homeless. I don't think they would do it. That has to be a question on the interview process somewhere.
Yeah.
They're that good. They're that good.
What are the challenges that you come across on a regular basis? I know there are many, but what are the biggest ones that you face?
It's a different age. We've noticed a couple of years ago that we saw this trend, and it's very concerning that we've noticed that a lot of people are choosing to be homeless. They're like, well, I lost my job. Well, just forget it. I'll just be homeless for a little while. And then what happens is they wind up getting stuck, and we say stuck at the bottom. And then they get discouraged. And so what they kind of is almost romantic to start with, I'll just be homeless for a little while. And then all of a sudden they realize, I don't have a car anymore. I have a bank account anymore. I don't have adequate clothes anymore. My health is declining. It's been so long now since I've worked. Nobody's gonna give me a chance. And the mountain just becomes like a Mount Everest in front of them. And it's so discouraging what they're looking at. And then, I was talking, you and I were talking about this yesterday, and I mentioned it earlier about believing again, that what we try to, as an outreach worker, a person concerned about the community, the whole community, that, what's best, man, it'd be great if this person could, get their life back together. And so what we try to do is we try to build a fire in their hearts, and get them to believe again. And it's really weird, because sometimes it starts with just this question: would you? Now, can you imagine? I come up to you and I'll say, "Your name's AJ, right?" Yeah. Okay, AJ. Would you like to have a better life?
Oh yeah.
What's the answer, man? Everybody says yeah, and I'll say, no, you're serious. And I might work it a little bit. Are you serious right now? Yeah. Okay, so let's get going. We're going to help you. And they're like, and then usually at that, you can feel people start pumping the brakes. It's like, that was a great question. I have a great answer for you, but it ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So then what we do is instead of them like looking at this Mount Everest of things going on in their future that they see, we try to get them to do one thing. like, look, I'm gonna give you a bus token. You go over here and you do this. And what happens is, it's just amazing. We probably have seen this process unfold 1,000 times, where if we can get somebody to do one thing positive, and then we string two, and then string another one to it, another one, then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I see what you mean. I just got to keep going now. I can't look back. I just got to keep walking this thing out, and I'm going to get my life back, ain't I? I'm going to get my life back. And man, you ought to see these people when we get them ready to get on the bus and get home, and that feeling, man, they're like, I'm getting ready to start a new chapter of my life, and this is going to be the best one. This is going to be a good one. I've got a chance now. I've got a chance.
Now, Ron, I know that it's not always victory, right? That there's some times where, you just can't get to everyone. You can't save everyone. How do you keep going? What keeps you going during those tough times? Because I know there have been some stories of people that have just, totally given up or have been lost to the streets.
Yeah. AJ, last fall, I helped preach the service for the homeless, our fallen homeless, last year. And there was over 100 people that were homeless that died on the west side here in Santa Monica area last year.
Just last year.
Yeah, and I helped preach that service.
Wow.
And so one of the reasons that gets us really motivated is that it's dangerous out there. And it's not criminals running around that much and all those things. It's just dangerous. It's there's so many hazards, people getting hit by cars, that not paying attention, and they fall sick, and they stay sick too long, and when they finally try to go for help, it's too late. And I had one fellow that had an infected arm, and we finally got him to UCLA Santa Monica Hospital, and he stayed in ICU for 11 days. They didn't know if they could keep him alive or not. And I had to beg him to get over there. He wasn't going to go. He would have died. And so I've found a few people when I'm out. Well, I found two directly. One homeless guy drowned, two on the beach. I've identified fallen people and tried to help them get identified so we could get them back to their loved ones and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so it isn't all, what we call praise reports, but those types of stories there keep us so motivated that we got to keep it going, man. We gotta circle the wagons and do the best we can.
Yeah. I've gotten to know a handful of people who are, living on the streets here that are close to where I live. And one of them is an older gentleman. He's a veteran. He refuses to stay in a shelter. He's experienced too many bad things in the shelters. Not saying that they're all bad, but the dangers are real, right? Yeah. And so he keeps his things in a storage locker, and when it's bad weather, he goes and gets a hotel room. And he's worked out a deal that's very cheap, for a room when he needs it. But I see him every day, and he refuses help most of the time. And I just, he's probably in his 70s. And I know that he went through a serious illness at one point where he almost died. He woke up in the hospital, didn't know how he got there, didn't know what surgeries were performed on him, was released back into the streets, didn't know what to do to care for himself. And this guy, if I go out there today, I'm going to see him.
Yep.
And so we talk, we have conversations. I've offered dinner and things like that, and he's just, I'm good. I'll take care of myself. It's heartbreaking, to see so many people from all walks of life, every color, every age, out there. A lot of mental illness. As well. And, you have not chosen an easy path, but you're one of the most joyful people I've ever met.
Thank you, brother.
How do you keep that without getting
Just,
cynical?
just like what you're saying, early on, we had a guy that had lived on the streets of Santa Monica for 28 years. And early on in our work here, he was the guy that I talked to him so much, he told me, please don't ever talk to me again. And I was like, okay, well, can I just wave when I go by? He puts his head down, he goes, yeah, you can wave, but that's it. And then one day I came by and I looked over at him and he was going like this, like waving at me. And I couldn't hardly believe my eyes. And I got over there and he said, you said you could get me off the streets. He said, I want to see if you lied to me. He said, I'm ready. And he has never, since that day, spent another night on the streets. Wow. We were ready for it. We were ready. And that's the way we look at it, that there's no reason for anybody to be homeless. We're never going to give up. We keep those great victories in view, and we're hoping the very best for everybody. And somehow or another, we just carry that in our heart, that we've got the answer, and we just got to get you to hear it and receive it. And we're not going to leave you with it. We're going to help you with it and try to get you all the way home.
People criticize me in my work sometimes because we've called it Love is the Answer. And we deal with very difficult situations. We deal with hard things, the very real divide between police and Black people in America is a very real thing. The homeless crisis in America, where we have so much abundance and yet so many people. We have people in Santa Monica that own multi-million-dollar homes that are never there, because they're in their other homes, right? And I mean, I've got 3 homes on my street. Mine isn't one of them, certainly. I got a little tiny beach bungalow, but there are homes on my street that are worth $5 or $6 million, and the homeowners are never there because they're in bigger homes somewhere else, right? And right across the street from them are people who can't afford a roof over their head. They're on the streets, So I get criticized a lot about love being the answer. It's not this warm, fuzzy, everything's great. Oh, let me give you a kiss and a hug and everything's cool, right? It's the hard work kind of love. I tell people, it's the kind of love that you would have for a family member who's addicted to crack or something else, and they're stealing from you, and they're lying to you every single day. And what do? Do you stop loving them? Do you just kick them out of your life, or do you try to do everything you can to help them, no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it is, right? And that's the kind of love. That's that tough, nitty gritty, grimy, go out in the rain kind of love that it takes, and the kind of love that you're displaying. You're not a soft dude. I know you can handle your business if you have to, but you're out there putting that tough love in and helping people.
Yeah.
And I just wish we could get more people to realize that love is the most powerful force in the universe, and that we need more of it. And it's not just an adjective. It's a verb. We got to put it into action. We got to live it out. Yeah. How do we get people to live it out, Ron?
Well, just like a couple of things we've already mentioned is that activating the community and the whole community, from the guy that owns multiple homes all the way down to the homeless person that believes there's no hope. And you were reminding me of a story. I had a person that lives near you. I know where you live. Well, sort of know where you live. You never invited me over to your house. But anyway, you're right there at the beach.
Man, I'm
And,
not allowed to invite anybody over to the house right now, man. Social distancing, brother.
When you get the green light, let me know. Oh, but anyway,
You got it.
But you know, it's amazing to me. Just kind of getting back to this this community effort and everything. That one of the people who lives in your neighborhood that's very influential did a ride along with me, and it wasn't distant, but it's like we were trying to figure out a way to like make a connection, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And with the person that was riding along with me, but then we started talking to the homeless. We got down on the beach, and this magical thing happened where this person realized that the homeless were just like her. They're real people. And it was this amazing thing. Before we were through, she had broke down and started crying 3 times. And she's been a friend of ours ever since. She just had to kind of get exposed to, you know, what was really going on out there, and saw that, you know, just like a lot of people, division is terrible in any, if it's a neighborhood divided against another one, a family, cities, whatever, races, creeds, division is terrible in my opinion. And, you know, and somehow or another, there's a big category now of it's us and then it's them, you know, the homeless, us and them. And then by the end, like that day, that person rode with me. By the end of that day, she realized it was just us. There was no them anymore. It's just us. And it's a remarkable thing. So believe it or not, I think I got a little bit of an answer. I don't know how we all get there with everybody, but compassion can be taught. I believe it. When people are exposed to it, I don't care how hard they are. I had a guy one time that said, if it was up to me, I'd dig a big hole, get a big old bulldozer, push all the homeless into it and cover them up. And I said, would you do it if one of them was your daughter? And he dropped his head. He said, I don't know why I said that.
Wow.
He said, I would never do that to anybody. He said, I don't know why I said that.
That's where it's at, man. You know, I say in our workshops, and I know you were at the Love is the Answer workshop at Santa Monica College, where we had the Santa Monica College PD and the Santa Monica City PD and Pasadena PD and L.A. School PD and a lot of community members there. And I said in that workshop that we have to treat each other like family, that there can't be this divide where I can't relate to you like you're my cousin or my brother or my aunt or my uncle. You know, that in the Hawaiian vernacular, you know, aunties and uncles and brother and sister and ohana. You know, we're ohana, we're family.
It's wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah. And even in that workshop that you were at, there were some difficult moments where we had to work through some issues, right, that came up, and we didn't shut it down. We didn't say, okay, this is a failed experiment. We worked through the uncomfortable moments like it was a family gathering. And at the end of that day, I saw people hugging each other who hated each other at the beginning. Yeah. And we got to.
Well, that's what I was saying. It's like I believe that humanity is basically good, and sometimes we have to be reminded that we're good, you know. And once we realize that we're good, and then if we do something good, we are good. It's really weird. It's just taking that step. If you do something good, you are good. And the more you do, the better you are. And your world gets big. And just like you said, I like to say this, you become colorblind.
Yeah.
It's like, what? What? You were describing a guy and they're like, well, didn't you leave out something? What? What did I leave out? What race is he? Because I was saying, yeah, he was wearing a green sweater. He's got on some nice Nikes, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, you left out the main part. And I was like, what's that? He was wearing, what kind of jeans did he have on? But it's really cool when you can, you realize that you've become that person that everybody matters.
Yeah.
Everybody is the same. And everybody is equally important. Everybody. Name him. He's equally important.
Man, you reminded me of a guy who was out on the streets, and you know who this is. He passed away a couple of years ago. He used to push around a red little cart. And I talked with him several times, and he was drunk most of the time I saw him. And one time I saw him across the parking lot, and I called out his name, and I started walking over to him, and I saw him tense up. He got really scared, and he was just really tense. And when I got up to him, he was, he didn't recognize me at first. And he recognized me, and he said, "Man, I thought you were going to come hurt me." And, because that's what he was used to.
Yeah.
And we had this, this discussion, just about life, and I learned, so much about him and his journey. And unfortunately, he's one of the ones who didn't make it.
Yeah.
But just taking the time to get to know someone as a person, I don't know, sometimes you think you're going to help them, but they wind up helping you.
Yeah.
Because we're all connected, especially now. I mean, those of us who thought we were separate from each other and not connected, they know better now with the coronavirus and how, we're affecting each other.
Exactly.
I want to give people an opportunity to help. I want to give people an opportunity to come alongside you, and people are going to be watching this from all over the country. So if they're in Idaho or Maryland or Florida, maybe there's a program in their area that they can help. But if they are in Santa Monica, how can they get a hold of you so that they can come alongside and be part of the solution?
Wonderful. Hey, AJ, so the easiest way to get in contact with us is just to go to our website. All the information's there. It's westcoastcare.org. And all the information on how to reach me personally, directly, if you want to send a love gift, anything, any way you want to communicate with us. And, just like I said, we're probably connected to them in some way. I had a very important businessman come out from New York City, and just so happened while he was here, we helped a guy go home to where he lived in New Jersey. And it was the exact same city, and he could not believe it. And he was like, how does this happen? I was like, I don't know, but it's real. This is it. This is the ticket. And so we're all connected. We're all connected. Love is the answer. Like I said, go to westcoastcare.org and be happy to talk to you, or, any way you want to reach out to us.
Awesome. And would you also talk with people who are maybe interested in starting a program in their area?
Oh, exactly. Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We've done consulting work all over California, as far away as Florida and Brisbane, Australia.
Oh, man. Let me know next time you go there. I might come with you.
Well, they came to me on that one.
Okay. Here we go. Little word association, 3 or 4 things. Just say the first thing that comes to mind. It doesn't have to be one word. It can be more than one. You ready?
Okay.
Neighbor.
Good. I got some great neighbors, man. I got some great neighbors.
All right. Police.
Important.
Homeless people.
They matter, man. They matter. They matter.
Sun and surf.
Ooh, good times. Good times, bro.
All right, and hopefully we'll get back to the surf soon. I know the beaches are
Yeah,
closed right now, and we're trying to get those back open and trying to get. I don't think we'll ever get back to what people call normal. In fact, I don't even know if we want to go back to that. I think
yeah,
we need to go forward,
yeah.
create something better, be more caring and empathetic and
Yeah.
loving towards each other, and most of all, just be part of the solution. Just be involved. So,
Hey, AJ, we
um,
believe in you, man. You keep
thank you.
going. The work you're doing is so important, and keep going. As always, if you need something from us, let us know. And we love you, man. Your wife, everybody, keep going, man. Keep the victory, okay?
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you. Love you and your family. And I'll close out, folks out there. If you're watching this, get involved. Do something to help West Coast Care. Go to westcoastcare.org. Or if you're in another area, get involved in your local community as well. I know that people come here to Santa Monica from all over the country, so you may want to just, if you're in New Hampshire or Florida, send a little money to West Coast Care so they can keep doing what they're doing, because some of the folks that they're helping are from your community, maybe even a family member. And I know you've got a great active board. I know that you've got advisors by your side. I know you've got a lot of volunteers, but I know that the need is great and more
Yes,
help is always welcome.
for sure, man. For sure.
So I'm appreciative of you, man.
Thank you,
I'm
brother.
glad to have you on today, and I hope we can see each other again
All right.
in person
We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon, AJ. Thank you. We love you, man.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Aloha, brother.